Seeing red and blue lights flash in your rearview mirror triggers an immediate spike in adrenaline. For most law-abiding drivers, the instant reaction is a desire to be as helpful and cooperative as possible. Take Mark. He is a retired firefighter with a spotless driving record. He has absolutely nothing to hide, and he views himself as a model citizen. When Mark was pulled over for a minor, routine traffic infraction, he decided to do what he thought was the right thing. He decided to volunteer extra information to the officer to show he was one of the good guys. He leaned out the window and said, "Officer, I just want to be honest with you. I have a legal firearm in my glove box." That one sentence, intended to be helpful, turned a 10-minute ticket into a $15,000 legal nightmare. Because while Mark was legal in his home state, he had just crossed a state line, where that disclosure triggered a mandatory vehicle search. Mark fell into a trap that catches thousands of law-abiding people every year. The belief that volunteering more information than required will make an encounter easier or safer. Let's freeze the encounter right as the officer walks up to Mark's window. To protect yourself legally, you have to understand the line between what an officer demands and what an officer merely requests. This chart shows the divide between required versus voluntary information. Under required, you have your basic legal obligations, handing over your driver's license, vehicle registration, and proof of insurance. Voluntary covers conversational data, where you're going, your occupation, and what's inside your vehicle. Mark crossed this line the moment he mentioned the firearm. He offered a narrative of his possessions, rather than just handing over his documents. On the side of a loud highway, it is incredibly easy for an officer to mishear or misinterpret a complex explanation. A helpful comment about a legal tool can quickly be noted as a potential threat. Those notes become part of an official police report. Once conversation is written down as a statement of fact, it is very difficult to take back. Prosecutors build cases based on those written reports, not on your friendly intentions. By over-explaining, you provide the raw material the state needs to build a case against you. The rules of engagement change the moment you cross a state line. What is helpful in one county can be a procedural red flag in the next. This is most clear with duty to inform laws. These specific statutes dictate whether you are legally required to tell an officer about a firearm in the car. In a permissive state, the officer checks the permit and the stop ends in minutes. But in a strict jurisdiction, that identical sentence provides the legal pretext to order him out, cuff him, and tear his vehicle apart looking for other violations. It's impossible to know every local trigger and procedural requirement for every town you drive through. This is why volunteering any information that isn't required is essentially playing legal roulette. Because Mark was a retired firefighter with no criminal intent, all the charges resulting from that search were eventually dismissed by a judge. But he didn't win. He spent $15,000 on defense attorneys to prove he hadn't broken the law. He lost months of his life to stress and court dates, all because he tried to be a good citizen by talking. Remaining silent and only providing required documents is a legal shield. It is not an act of hostility toward the police. It is the only way to ensure your words aren't used against you later. If you are pulled over, stay calm and be respectful. Provide required documents immediately, but stop right there. Do not offer a narrative. Using full cooperation makes a stop safer, or should drivers stick strictly to what the law requires? Let's talk about it in the comments. Understanding your rights is just as important as following the law. If you found this helpful, hit like and subscribe. See you in the next one.